Hello and thanks for joining us on the news on NTA International at this time. My name is Dennis Adegunboye. First, the headlines. Leaders at Africa Merit Awards ask aspiring young entrepreneurs to never give up on their dreams. Nigeria to pursue friendly relations with other countries, but not at the expense of rights of citizens. Chairman Nigerian Diaspora Commission harps. Plus, dangerous heat wave hits United States with predictions of extreme hot weather in major cities over the weekend. And now the news in details. The Deputy Senate President Ovie Omo Agege says the peace and unity of Nigeria remains a cardinal objective of the All Progressives Congress. He was speaking at a reception organized in his honor by the Youth Progressive Initiative in the North. Ignatius Nkwo reports.
Eminent Nigerians and party bigwigs, it was another opportunity to emphasize Nigeria's strength in unity. Deputy President of the Senate, Ovie Omo Agege, the celebrant of the day's occasion, reminded Nigerians that no nation can have a meaningful national development without unity of purpose, which the APC stands for. And that informed his resolve to appoint all aid from all the geopolitical zones in Nigeria.
Going into the elections for the leadership, I had thought that only APC senators who will vote for me. But to my surprise, a very pleasant surprise, we have a new breed of PDP senators who are determined to also work and cooperate with Mr. President to take this country to the next level.
The elections that were conducted, most of the areas we went to outside Kano and probably were Meduguri, the president had the largest turnout.
Youth involvement in leadership, wealth creation, and the need for Nigeria to utilize the African Continental Free Trade Agreement recently signed by President Muhammadu Buhari were canvassed.
Most of the problem here today is poverty. Poverty. So we must get enough to drive poverty.
Tomorrow is in your hand, and I want to assure you, just as my common leader said, that there's a progressive, the new progressive initiative in the South-South. We are going to start our own youth progressive initiative in the Southwest.
The Youth Progressive Initiative is made up of youth from the 19 northern states. Ignatius Nkwo, NTA News.
Let's take some agricultural stories now. And the federal government and the Central Bank of Nigeria are providing incentives for state governments and private firms interested in investing in the livestock subsector of the economy. This is coming as the Niger and Kano state governments have indicated interest in establishing livestock development areas in their states for beef, milk and dairy products. Musa Baba Aliyu reports.
Nigeria and Brazil have almost the same population size of livestock, which is about 180 million. These include cows, sheep and goats, among other domestic animals. Brazil makes billions of dollars annually from production and export of beef, milk and other dairy products, while Nigeria, on the other hand, is a major importer of these products. The Central Bank of Nigeria says the country spends $1.3 billion annually on the importation of milk, yogurt, cheese and other dairy products. This scenario might change with the incentives by the federal government and the Apex Bank for interested investors in livestock development. With this in mind, a meeting between the Niger State Governor Sani Bello and the Central Bank Governor Godwin Emefiele discussed the Niger State Livestock Development Project.
Private sector working with the Central Bank and the state. After they invest by providing the pasture, the seedlings, and then they grow the grasses. They will also invest in some part of the infrastructure that will make sure that there's a lot of water for the livestock to drink. And of course, you know, the more the water, the more the quantity of the milk that can come out of it.
Looking at how to curtail the herders-farmers conflict, And the best solution would be to develop grazing reserves where we'll keep the herdsmen and provide the infrastructure so they can get better yield with regards to milk and beef.
The Niger State government has reserved 30,000 hectares which will serve as animal breeding ground in Mariga local government area of the state. Kano State government, on the other hand, is rehabilitating the State Livestock Development Center located in Kadawa. The center will carry out artificial insemination and cross-breeding of cows for beef and milk production. Musa Baba Aliyu, NTA News.
Meanwhile, large-scale agricultural activities require a lot of application of machineries and inputs, especially when a given country targets economic rejuvenation and food sufficiency. One major input in the development of agricultural production is fertilizer at an affordable rate. Ilyasu Ali Yakubu examines the revitalization of fertilizer blending plants across the country by the federal government for the purposes of making the product easily accessible to farmers and also to provide employment opportunities for Nigerians.
Nigerian farmers have been battling with the scarce availability of fertilizers in the country for many years. And even when the product is available, the high cost of the product makes it difficult for farmers to access. This is due to the activities of middlemen who engage in racketeering of the product and high level of corruption in the supply value chain. This situation also affected the production capacity of the 20 fertilizer blending plants, where only 5 out of them produce less than 10% of installed capacity. The agricultural yields, on the other hand, suffered immensely. Worried by these threats to national food security, the Buhari administration signed an MOU with the Moroccan government in 2016 towards addressing key issues affecting production of fertilizers in the country. Under this agreement, the Moroccan government supplies Nigeria with phosphate, a major ingredient for NPK fertilizer. Today, more than 11 of the 20 moribund fertilizer plants have been revived by the federal government. This is Boko's fertilizer blending plant in Plateau State, one of the many revitalized fertilizer plants across the country by the Buhari administration for the simple reason of making the product more accessible and affordable to farmers at government-approved price of 5,500 naira.
We're expected to load 17,201 metric tons of fertilizers to 4 states of Adamawa, Benue, Taraba and Plateau states.
4 million tons of NPK and 2 million tons of urea are produced annually with this revival. And more than 500 direct and indirect jobs have been created. While the farmers are smiling to the banks as a result of bumper harvest, and the federal government is also saving 260 billion naira annually on importation of fertilizers. One major interesting feat also achieved is the engagement of laborers in all the plants who were hitherto roaming the streets causing mayhem. Plant managers and operators of the plants say they are in business.
With the intervention and assistance of both the state and the federal government, we are up and doing. This has impacted positively on the lives of the local farmers around.
This federal government initiative and many others, experts say, must be supported in all its ramifications for the economic rejuvenation of the country. In Abuja, Ilyasu Ali Yakubu, NTA News.
To other news now, youths across the country who aspire to become successful entrepreneurs have been urged to never give up on their dreams. This was the core message at the Africa CEO Merit Awards 2019 held in Abuja. If there was ever any doubt among youths that one can triumph over adversity, the awardees that have been recognized for their entrepreneurial skills at this year's Africa CEO Merit Awards will in all probability remove such doubts. This is because many of these young Nigerians have indeed overcome the many challenges of life, which include broken families, homelessness, and countless setbacks. Their stories can be described as inspiring, and this event, themed The Connective Business Era, aims to instill within young people the value of hard work, commitment, and the philosophy that one does not need to be defined by circumstances. The awards were divided into 3 categories, these being the Best Young CEOs, the Best Female CEOs, and the Elite CEO Awards.
You know, I was homeless by this time last year, but look at me today receiving an award, you know, as a CEO. I can actually tell you it's really God at work in me.
I feel happy because my hard work paid, even though I felt discouraged at many times.
Growing or success is never a one-day thing. You have to start gradually, you grow gradually, you have an aim in mind what you want to become, then you keep pushing till the time you succeed.
This is one of the best days of my life. Leaders are not born, they are made. So this is a platform for us to succeed.
Their story is much more bigger than my story.
The Africa CEO Merit Awards is the largest gathering of entrepreneurs on the African continent. To security matters now, the Nigerian Army has been further strengthened with the injection of an additional 259 officers who completed the Direct Short Service Course 24 2019. Defense correspondent Ismail Musa, who was at the Jaji Military Cantonment, Kaduna, venue of the event, has details.
And I'll do all in my best to contribute positively to the Nigerian Army.
This long-awaited event marks the end of the 6 months intensive military training and drills, course 24 2019, at the Nigerian Army School of Infantry, Jaji, Kaduna. These 259 cadets, specialists in different fields, belonging to different corps, are now lieutenants in the Nigerian Army. The Chief of Defense Staff, who is the reviewing officer for the exercise, urged the cadets to be proactive and innovative in addressing emerging threats across the country.
Each and every one of you have various roles to play based on your expertise and previous experiences in containing our security challenges.
After the parade, it is time for the unveiling of the newly commissioned officers' rank and administration of oath. The all-armed drilling wing complex and other projects were inaugurated at the event. From Jaji Cantonment in Kaduna, Ismail Musa, NTA News.
Now, Chairman of the Diaspora Commission, Abike Dabiri Erewa, says Nigeria will continue to pursue friendly relations with other countries while ensuring that the rights of its citizens are not trampled upon. Abike Dabiri was speaking when she met with Augustine Nwagbara, a Nigerian professor whose sabbatical was terminated in Ghana for allegedly criticizing the unfair treatment of Nigerians in that country. Makut Simon Macham reports.
Augustine Nwagbara, a professor of English at the University of Lagos, was on sabbatical at the University of Winneba in Ghana. However, his trouble started when he was alleged to have criticized Ghanaian authorities over their manhandling of Nigerians at a meeting of Nigerian community, leading to his hurried dismissal without due process.
If you look at the video, you see that it looked like I alone was talking, except at the incident where you had hands clapped or 1 or 2 shadows by the side. That was clinical editing, really. It was tracked, and the first person that put it online is a Ghanaian journalist, and he works with Joy FM. And if you notice, he's been very consistent in promoting xenophobia against Nigerians.
Abike Dabiri Erewa says Nigeria has always cherished its relations with countries like Ghana, but will not allow its citizens to be unduly targeted.
At this point in time, we need to work as Africans to promote unity in the continent. From official information available, between January and now, about 509 Nigerians have been deported from Ghana. They just take them, carry them to Sebe border, and dump them there. And in 2018, 527 were deported, sometime in 2018 within a period of 6 months. I mean, if Nigeria decided to do the same thing to Ghanaians here, it's not going to augur well for the continent.
Meanwhile, the chairman of the Nigerians in Diaspora Commission at a town hall meeting with Nigerians in the United Kingdom asked them to take advantage of the newly established commission for better engagement with relevant government agencies for national development.
Invest in ourselves, and I believe that with the Diaspora Commission, we're in for better times ahead for the diaspora and for Nigeria.
Every complaint you put on paper before us today, we shall process them and see those that require instant change.
The diasporans expressed hope that the new commission will create more avenues for dialogue. In Abuja, Makut Simon Machan, NTA News.
You are watching the news on NTA International, reaching you live from Abuja. Time to take a short break. We will be back with news in a moment. Stay with us.
Hear the call of change. Stand up, Nigeria. Change is here and it's going to stay. Change begins with you. Oh yeah, make we go. Go to so let the change begin from within. Look at you, oh Gerula. Change begins with you and me. Change begins with me. Change begins with me. Change begins with me.
This message is brought to you by the Federal Ministry of Information and Culture.
Thanks for remaining with us. Now to health matters. The federal government has been urged to put in place appropriate policies and guidelines to advance the utilization of family planning methods in Nigeria to reverse the rapid population growth as well as fast-track the Family Planning 2020 goal. This was the center of dialogue for health experts at the first Professor Babatunde Oshotimehin National Reproductive Health Legacy Forum in Ibadan.
With a 2019 estimated population of over 200 million people in Nigeria and an annual population growth rate of 2.6%, the country's population is estimated to reach 543 million by the year 2050 and will become the third most populous country after China and India. By implication, social violence such as armed robbery, cultism, kidnapping, and other security challenges faced by the country is attributed to lack of family planning to address upsurge in population explosion. This informed the topic Family Planning 2020 goal with Nigeria.
If we do not encourage the use of contraception for healthy timing and spacing of births, we will continue to have children by chance and not by choice.
Deliberations at this meeting would give us a roadmap to the future.
With regards to our commitment to Family Planning 2020 agenda and how Nigeria can go forward.
So I would say that we are not there where we should be in Nigeria.
He has worked tirelessly to support, promote reproductive health services in Nigeria.
An African Journal of Medicine and Medical Services was launched in the memory of late Professor Babatunde Oshotimehin, who was one time the Minister of Health, Director General of the National Agency for the Control of HIV and AIDS, among other national and international appointments. In Ibadan, Shola Wahid, NTA News.
In the meantime, improving primary healthcare services will be on the agenda of the Yobe State government as it promises new functional and standard facilities in the 178 wards of the state. Governor Mai Malabuni expressed this during a midterm review of immunization activities with development partners. Momso Dayan Dati has details.
This is a breakdown of special intervention on the immunization exercise carried out in 6 states of northeast Nigeria, with Yobe State having the second highest number of intervention in the first half of this year. Now crossing to the second half of the year, Yobe State Governor Mai Malabuni is in Abuja to interact with development partners, the Bill and Melinda Gates Foundation, as well as the Dangote Foundation, to review routine immunization in the state. closed-door meeting, the governor did not hesitate to brief journalists on areas that need to be improved on when he returns home.
We are committed to do our best as a state, and you know, as we rightly said, Yobe State is doing well, and we hope to improve upon what we have made. We pledge to have at least one functional primary health center in each of the 178 wards.
What we expect is to see more improvement in the area of immunization and natal care skilled by attendance, ITN coverage, and of course contraceptive prevalence rate.
I think the involvement of the traditional institution has helped a lot in getting where we are now.
The midterm review on routine immunization ensures accountability and success, while bringing out areas that need to be improved upon. In Abuja, Momso Damien Lati, NTA News.
Vice President Yemi Osinbajo says praises to God have a very strong influence and role in the life of a believer and that of a nation. He said this in a message to the Nigerian Television Authority Choir Concert 2019 held at the NTA Arena, Abuja. The Vice President was represented by the chaplain Aso Rock Villa.
First half is the person that wins the second half. And this praise that we are organizing, I'd like to say on behalf of His Excellency the Vice President that you will win the second half. I will also win the second half of the year. And I know that Nigeria herself shall win in all the battles that we are facing in this second half of the year in the name of Jesus.
The Director General of the NTA, Yakubu Ibn Mohammed, was also represented at the event.
NTA have a strong faith that Nigeria will be great and things will turn around for good.
Various church choir groups and the NTA choir rendered songs of praise to God. Moving on now, extremely hot weather started hitting most of the United States, with temperatures set to reach a peak over the weekend. Meteorologists say the heat wave could affect about 200 million people in major cities like New York, Washington and Boston in the East Coast and the Midwest region too. In some places, temperatures could be as close to or exceeding 38 degrees centigrade, with parts of Canada also being hit. Experts link more frequent heat waves in recent years to climate change. Reports say the world experienced its hottest temperatures during this year. Time now for the Week in Review segments with Justin Bem.
The week began on a sad note with President Muhammadu Buhari's reaction to recent attacks on his administration, saying those politicized isolated incidents on insecurity are not patriotic. President Buhari said this when he met with a delegation of the Buhari Campaign Organization on a solidarity visit. This came just as the Senate called on the service chiefs to immediately commence regular patrols along the highways as part of measures to ensure security of lives and property on the roads. This resolution followed a motion which drew the attention of the Senate to the recent murder of Lufunke Olakunri along the Akure-Ore Expressway. In the related development, issues relating to the economy, security and enhanced livelihood for the nation's majority were discussed as President Muhammadu Buhari granted audience to the Senate President Ahmed Lawan and Speaker of the House of Representatives Femi Gbajabiamila. The engagement was in furtherance of the renewed cordiality and impetus for good governance and effective service delivery between the executive and the legislature. In the week under review, the federal government promised to return job opportunities exported to other countries, just as it reiterated commitment to implement the approved new minimum wage when negotiation arising from the consequential adjustment is completed. This assurance from the Wages Commission came following concern raised by the trade union side of the Joint National Negotiating Council on issues of consequential adjustment of salaries in the federal public service, which required the government to reconvene the meeting of the technical committee to complete negotiations. In the course of the week, the Senate confirmed the appointment of Justice Ibrahim Mohammed Tanko as Chief Justice of Nigeria. The presidential request for the confirmation was read on the floor of the Senate on the 11th of July 2019. Heads of intelligence and security services across Africa also had a brainstorming session towards finding lasting solutions to illicit financial outflows from the continent in view of their devastating consequences on national security and development. It was the 16th ordinary session of the Committee of Intelligence and Security Services of Africa, hosted by the National Intelligence Agency. And now from the judiciary, we had reports within the week that the People's Democratic Party and its candidate, Atiku Abubakar, closed their case at the Presidential Election Petition Court. The petitioners are challenging the victory of President Muhammadu Buhari in the February 23 presidential election. Nigeria is at the verge of producing the world's first ever plant origin anti-snake venom vaccine to neutralize various snake venoms in cases of snake bites. This was a medical feat unveiled by the African Center of Excellence in Phytomedicine Research and Development, University of Jos, in collaboration with the National Office of Technology Acquisition and Promotion, NOTAP.
This man has a chance for a decent. Oh!